Please welcome to the stage Rami Champion of Okta.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rami Champion, and I lead Okta's dedicated and passionate Tech for Good team. I have been in the identity space for the past decade, helping organizations from the private sector to nonprofits alike learn how identity security tools can help protect their people, their data, and their missions. So, who of you here works for a nonprofit? Raise your hands. OK, good. Lots of hands up in the room. Now, of you, who has budget specifically set aside for cybersecurity initiatives? A lot less hands just went up. So today, what I'm going to be talking to you about is why cybersecurity isn't just an IT issue, but it's a mission-critical necessity for nonprofits. We'll walk through a real-world nonprofit example first. Then I'll share some recent trends that are shaping the cybersecurity sector, or cybersecurity for the nonprofit sector. And then I'll share some practical tips from our cybersecurity team on how to approach cybersecurity in today's environment. For those of you not familiar with Okta, our vision is to free everyone to safely use any technology. Security is core to our mission, and identity is who we are. We believe that every organization is becoming a technology organization. And that means that you all will have digital identities that need to be secured. Identity is the one thing that is integrated across your entire tech stack. It connects all of your users, including your donors, your members, your employees, volunteers, the communities that you're serving, to the technology they need to access, whether it's their daily critical tools to perform their work, or it's the services that you're delivering digitally. And because of that, it is most targeted by cybercriminals. Okta has been one of the leading identity providers for the past 15 years, and some of the world's most trusted brands trust Okta, including nonprofits like Kiva, Vibrant Emotional Health, and the Trevor Project. At Okta, we believe that identity security should be accessible for every organization, especially nonprofits like you, and one I'm about to tell you about, Vibrant Emotional Health, whose missions serve the most vulnerable communities and protect our world's most valued resources. And because of this, Okta for Good exists. We are dedicated to helping nonprofits access cybersecurity tools and expertise that they need to securely achieve their missions. Now, let's take a closer look at how one nonprofit reduced their IT pain points by leveraging Okta and were able to more squarely focus on their mission. Mental health support is more critical than ever. 20% of the US population faces some type of emotional or mental health challenge. But for the past few decades, it's been challenging to access immediate care and the necessary help. That's where Vibrant Emotional Health comes in. They run state-of-the-art lifelines that, including the 988 Lifeline, which receives over 11,000 calls per day, and it's growing 15% year over year. In order to meet that scale, they needed secure and strong infrastructure. That's where Okta stepped in. They came to Okta because achieving their mission inherently needed to be secure. Their services are critical. They're on the same scale as 911 services. But their help centers were getting inundated with password reset requests, and logins were everywhere. Very decentralized identity. By leveraging Okta, they were able to save over $100,000 per year by automating their password reset requests, by centralizing their domains, and by automating account provisioning. In addition, they're leveraging our customer identity solution to help protect the logins of their over 4,000 volunteers and crisis counselors. This means the crisis counselors can quickly access the tools they need every day, and access can be removed quickly as well. And then lastly, they're also leveraging Okta's identity governance solution to help improve security and compliance. Before Okta, a governance manager would have to come in, pull a list of accounts, determine who was still at the organization, and then figure out who had access to what. Now Okta provides a complete list of users and validates that everyone has the correct access that they need. Now, Vibrant Emotional Health isn't the only nonprofit that's tackling cybersecurity challenges today. Nonprofits globally are facing rising threats. In fact, last year, 65% of NGOs reported that they had experienced a cyber breach in the past year. And 70% of them share that they don't have the incident response capabilities in case of a cyber attack. But those stats aren't exactly surprising because 56% of them shared that they don't have budget specifically set aside for cybersecurity initiatives. And many of you share that same thing as well. So adding on to this data, before I get into our next slide, each year Okta analyzes our authentication data, and we release the trends in our report called Businesses at Work. My team also releases a nonprofits edition of that, and we released it a couple weeks ago. The results are pretty eye-opening. The first most targeted sector by cyber attackers was energy, oil, mining, and gas, critical infrastructure. Can anyone guess who was second most attacked sector? Yell it out at me. I heard nonprofits in there. Nailed it. Nonprofits are the second most attacked sector. From our perspective, nonprofits are critical infrastructure, and cyber attackers see it this way too. In fact, nonprofits saw a 600% spike in cyber threats year over year, from 2.6% to 18%. But there are some really positive trends here as well. Nonprofits are not backing down. Like Jane Goodall shared this morning, there are some reasons for hope. Despite the fact that many of you shared you don't have cybersecurity budget, we're seeing MFA adoption rising, multi-factor authentication adoption. That is one of the most basic things that you can do to better improve user security. It's currently at 78%, up from 69% 2 years ago. In addition, we're seeing really high rates of phishing-resistant authentication factors being deployed, like biometrics and FIDO2 keys. There's still a little bit of work when it comes to multi-factor authentication that can be done. 45% of nonprofit users are still leveraging SMS as an authentication option. SMS can be very easily phished. So it's a step in the right direction, but it's not necessarily the most secure one. A couple other positive security trends that we saw were that nonprofits are leveraging VPNs at very high rates. And the fastest growing security tool year over year was Secure Web Gateway, meaning that more nonprofits are leveraging Secure Web Gateway in order to prevent malicious content from reaching their networks. So overall, very positive trends to see. Despite the threats and some of these positive trends, though, we know that this year is going to be another challenge, its own set of challenges. And Okta's been there. We've had our years of challenges and obstacles, and I know that you all aren't a stranger to that either. So I asked our cybersecurity team how they would approach cybersecurity in the environment that you all are facing today. And they said that it is the best time to get back to basics. They shared 4 key things. First, strengthen authentication. Not all authentication factors are created equally. Make sure that you're leveraging strong authentication factors, ideally the phishing-resistant ones like biometrics and FIDO2 keys where you can. And ensure as well that all of your high-value resources, your high-value assets are protected by these strong authentication factors. Second is take a zero-trust approach to identity and access management. Start by inventorying your applications, which are behind SSO, which aren't. The ones that are behind SSO are going to be much easier to control and much easier to remove access to. Then consider the employee lifecycle. What happens when an employee departs your organization? What happens to their credentials, their shared API keys? Make sure that you're automating account deprovisioning so that all of this access is removed quickly. And then adopt a least privilege access approach. Not every employee at your organization should have access to your beneficiary data, your key financial or donor data. Make sure that you have an approval process in place in order to gain that access. And consider setting up an access expiration that is automatic as well. So maybe after 3 months, you automatically remove access to that type of data unless if an employee submits an extension request. Then when it comes to data, it's about access and controls. Catalog who has access to your data. And then when it comes to controls, consider, is it encrypted? What about your backup systems? Are you following the right regulations? And then lastly, remember that resilience happens when you have a strong internal cybersecurity culture. Cybersecurity is very much a team sport. You have your entire organization helping you to protect against cyber threats. So continue to invest in cybersecurity training for your organization. Overall, organizations that have these strong cybersecurity foundations are going to weather challenges more easily. Security isn't a luxury, it's a necessity. And that's why Okta supports nonprofits with donated and discounted identity licenses. Over the past few years, we're proud to share that we've donated over $29 million in products and services to nonprofits. Here's just some of what you'll get if you're a validated nonprofit, including 50 free licenses of Okta's workforce identity platform, plus 50% off additional licenses. And then if you're thinking about identity for your donors or your members or the communities that you're serving, we offer 50% off our Auth0 customer identity plans as well. And I really want to emphasize this too. We know that achieving security means you have to have a strong deployment. That's why we offer multiple options for discounted and donated implementation services, both through Okta's teams as well as our seller partners. So if you want to learn a little bit more, the QR code on the left takes you to our Nonprofits at Work report if you want to dive further into that data. And then tonight, we also have a happy hour that we're hosting with AWS and Splunk. We're going to have some whiskey glass engraving. Feel free to scan the QR code on the right. And in summary, cyber threats are growing, but nonprofits are not backing down. By investing in strong identity security, you can protect your people, your data, and your missions. And most importantly, we're here to help you through that process. Thank you, everyone.